Okay, I switched over to my hotspot, so hopefully that's going to work better. Hey, welcome everyone. If you're on Zoom with me today for Cyber Sandwich. Hey, if you guys could in the chat, I'd love to know what you teach, where you teach, and on a scale from 1 to 10, what is your comfort level or knowledge of EduProtocols? Mm-hmm. All right. We can't. Okay. Wait. Oh, okay. I got here some middle school in algebra and Menifee, 3rd grade Beaumont. Cool. No familiarity. Okay, cool. I'm going to get you guys set up. Just curious. Again, I'd love to hear, what you teach, where you teach, and your familiarity with EduProtocols, maybe like on a scale from 1 to 10. Thanks, Mandy and Kylie, for telling me. Newbie, all right. Cool. And I know there's only like about 15 people here. I'm just trying to get a feel for the audience. High school. Oh, Mission Vista Academy. Cool. Oh, yeah. While you guys are doing that too, the link to the slide deck is in the chat. If you need it, just ask for it. Yeah, there we go. People that are new to EduProtocols. Cool. So I just wanted to get a feel for where everyone's at. There's been a lot of EduProtocol sessions here at the conference. I'm good friends with my friend Kim Vogie, who is one of the presenters today, who wrote the Deploying EduProtocols book. And then my other good friend, Lisa Nowakowski, wrote the Math Edition EduProtocol book. And at the end of the session, I'm going to get you guys a link to a form that you can win a copy of the Math EduProtocol book. Lisa Nowakowski was kind enough to send me a couple copies, 1 copy for each of my sessions. So at the end of the session, I'll be raffling off a copy of the book. Cool. So as people are coming in, let me give you a quick overview of me. I teach in Temecula, which is like South Riverside County, right above San Diego. I was actually 2022 Riverside County Teacher of the Year and 2022 California State Teacher of the Year finalist. I've been teaching high school math for 26 years, and I'm also the tech coach at my high school. And I also serve as the CTA ambassador to California Math Council. So I presented a lot of conferences, both with CTA, with California Math Council, and then places like this in Riverside with Google Summer Camp. So before we actually dive into Cyber Sandwich, I want to let you guys know, and maybe you've heard about some of these other EduProtocols while you're at the conference today, but the EduProtocols, there's multiple protocols. The protocols are lesson frames. The idea with the lesson frames is to, once a student is familiar with how that activity works, then you can insert the content and change the content, and the students don't get bogged down on, okay, well, how do I do that? Because when you start to say cyber sandwich, once they've done it 2 or 3 times, they know what a cyber sandwich is. And what I have displayed here, Kim Vogie, my friend, who's also a presenter today, put this together. I want to let you guys know that EduProtocols is already going to be accomplishing what you are, as a math teacher, are trying to do with the standards for mathematical practices. Things like making sense of problems and giving students opportunity to persevere, giving them a chance to construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others, opportunities to model with mathematics, look for and make use of structure and look for patterns, right? So these mathematical standards for mathematical practice, those are through all K through 12, and it's something we're asked to do when Common Core came out in our math classrooms. And this image here shows you different math reps and reps you can do and how they align with the mathematical practices. So Yesterday I presented on sous chef. Today I'm doing cyber sandwich, but realize this is one of the many protocols, like in the math edition alone are 15 student-centered learning frames. And so these lesson frames, that's what an EduProtocol is. And the website for eduprotocols.com is right there at the bottom of the slide. I also want to say throughout my work with California Math Council and also at the state level with Math Community of Practice, I've been exposed to the True Math framework. I'm not sure if you heard that about that, but it comes out of UC Berkeley. And the True Math framework has identified 5 dimensions of powerful classrooms. First, it really needs to be the content, which for us is math, whether you're teaching 2nd grade math or 8th grade or high school. We all teach math at all levels, and you need to give rich content to your students. And this is where what is so fabulous about EduProtocols, including Cyber Sandwich, is you insert the content. The protocol is a routine that the students do to engage with the content, so you can still include all of that high quality content that you have access to through your textbook, through other resources that you utilize in your classroom. The cognitive demand needs to be challenged, where students are challenged and given support, right? So we don't want to dumb down the math. We want to have a high cognitive level for the students, but do it in a way where we can provide feedback and support them to reach this new higher levels. Also, EduProtocols do provide equitable access to the content, and you really need to think about, when you're delivering math to your students, what type of activities or lessons do you create that invite and support the engagement of all your students, not just the one student or the 3 students who always raise their hand, but how do you get those kids in the back? In fact, all your students communicating. And the next element or dimension is the agency, the ownership, and the identity. What do you do in your classroom that allows students voice, a chance to walk the walk and talk the talk, where they have the ownership of the learning? EduProtocols does that because it's student-centered, and the work and the ideas come from the students. So it's definitely promoting student agency. Lastly, how do you, when you're designing lessons in your math class, how do you provide multiple opportunities for formative assessment that have activities where students can show you their thinking, have interactions with their groups, with partners, and allows you as a teacher to give meaningful, like immediate formative assessment and feedback so that they can make adjustments and corrections along the way. So EduProtocols meet what we are trying to do with our math practices and also the 5 dimensions of a powerful classroom. So what is Cyber Sandwich? Like I said, there's in the math book alone, there's 15 lesson frames. And so it's a lesson frame. The idea with a Cyber Sandwich, and if you've ever heard of like think, pair, share, it's kind of like that. It's a 2-person activity that you pair your students up into groups of 2, and you give them content on 5 slides. And I'm going to show you the format of the 5 slides. So you make a slide deck that students can copy and create and then work on their 5 slides together. You give them a source, whether that be a problem, a notice and wonder, take a look at the pattern. How is the pattern growing? A word problem. You give them something to talk about, right? And provide that on those 5 slides. And before the students actually solve the problem, they get a chance just to say, here's what I noticed, and try to unpack the problem. Then they share it with their partner. They tell their partner, what do you have? What do I have? What do we both have? And use a Venn diagram approach so that the student can take what they have, find out what another person has, and together be more powerful. And then once they've done that, then go ahead and solve the problem. And you can see how even just that process unto itself gives the students time to think, time to discuss, time to bounce ideas off a partner before they actually have to solve the problem, which is a lot more powerful than me doing the problem at the board, which I probably could do that in just a few minutes. But the students would be mimicking me. I don't want them mimicking me. I want them coming up with their own ideas. And you'd be amazed when you let students take control and ownership and agency of their learning, the ideas they come up with. Sometimes I say to myself, like, wow, I never thought of solving it that way. So it's a really cool activity, Cyber Sandwich. And I know a lot of you said you're new to Cyber Sandwich. I'm going to get you a chance. You're going to get a chance to actually partake in a Cyber Sandwich. And I'm going to get you into Zoom breakout rooms with a pretty simple problem so that you can experience it. But I want you to think about what you're currently doing, right? Here's some problems of the day I just found on the internet. All of us have it in our textbooks, whether it's a 5th grade word problem, an Algebra 1 problem, maybe it's something like a notice in wonder type situation, like how is the pattern growing, right? We can pose notice and wonder questions, explain the patterns that they see. Or has everyone ever used which one doesn't belong? Has anyone used that website, which one doesn't belong? Right? Because that example I show there with the triangles and the hexagon, that comes from which one doesn't belong, which the problem you guys are going to do comes from this website, which I've included in the slideshow, where there's a whole bunch of ideas to get students talking. And I really like which one doesn't belong because there's really no wrong answer. So students can have to kind of pick their side on which one doesn't belong and defend it. But really, whatever you're doing in your classroom, you guys can find problems. And I recommend finding, for Cyber Sandwich, find one of those word problems from the book, something that they need to unpack. Because if I, as a teacher, just like look at this 5th grade word problem, it says Flyaway Airlines has 3 flights to New Park City every day from Sandoz. Each plane sits 400 passengers. On Monday, the first flight had 325 passengers. The second flight had 387 passengers. The third flight had 221 passengers. How many empty seats are there altogether? Now, as a math teacher, I look at that problem and I know how to solve it. But for students, my goodness, that's a lot of words. And even if you highlight the question, like you're like, okay, I'm highlighting it, kids are going to get it. No, they're not. Students need a chance to discuss it. And that's where Cyber Sandwich is perfect, because you get it with a partner, get a chance to see what they think about it before solving it, then talk to the partner, see what the partner thinks, see what they have in common on a Venn diagram, and then solve it. And typically when the students do that, their solution is much more robust because they've had input from a partner. They've had time to unpack it and create something. So whenever you're thinking Cyber Sandwich, I would give something along the lines of a word problem, or something where they could notice and wonder and discuss, or something like the STARS program down there where that pattern's growing. By the way, if you love visual patterns, this comes the STAR, how do you see the pattern growing? That comes from another friend of mine, Fawn Nguyen, who created this visual patterns website. There's literally hundreds of different visual patterns. Another great resource to like throw out there to get students talking for a Cyber Sandwich. Again, I link that at the end of my slideshow. So let's go on and see what a Cyber Sandwich template looks like. And I'm going to give you guys access to all the templates so that you can recreate them and plug in your own math in your own class. So I have a couple tasks set up for us. Our first task is called Which One Doesn't Belong? I just found a Which One Doesn't Belong from that website, and it's going to give students a chance to think through it. Now, I'm going to break you into Zoom breakout rooms with a partner so you can actually do the problem. But before we do, I just want to show you how the 5-slide setup for Cyber Sandwich works. First of all, each student has their note page. You have on there like an image like I have here of the things, the collection of money, or maybe you have a word problem, or the thing that you want them to investigate, and you ask them a question about it, like which one doesn't belong, or explain how you'd get started. If it's a word problem, you might ask them, what are the key words? What type of math would you use to do this? So this notes page is a chance for the students just to try to unpack the problem and write down their ideas before they actually solve it. So student 1 has their own note page. Student 2 has the exact same note page. So they both have their note page. And then during this process, I really emphasize to students, don't solve it until you talk to your partner. Okay, so this part of it, you just spend, a small amount of time. In your guys' groups, I'm just going to give you a few minutes before I say, okay, go ahead and go on to the Venn diagram. So once you and your partner say, okay, we both have something, then you go to slide 3. Slide 3 is student 1 writes what they have, student 2 writes what they have, and then they talk to each other, and then they say, well, we both have this. And through that process, they both might actually come up with something brand new as well. But here's where the students do the thinking, the discussion, the collaboration. And once they have it here and that they type it up on here, then we go to slide 4, which is the student 1's writing and solution spot, and slide 5, which is student 2 writing spot. So that's why Cyber Sandwich always has 5 slides. Student 1 notes, student 2 notes, the Venn diagram, compare and share slide, then student 2 notes, and student 3 writing and solution. Okay, so what I want to do here, if we go back to this slide here, right here it says click to make a copy, and I'm going to put you in Zoom breakout room. So I encourage all of you guys to make a copy right now. If you click on it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this link in the chat too. It's going to look like this, and it's going to force you to make a copy of that same which one doesn't belong. So I encourage all of you guys to make a copy right now. And once we get into the the Zoom breakout rooms, I want one of you to say, okay, I'm going to share it with the other person so that you guys can be editing the same slideshow, right? Does that make sense so far? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you guys a little bit of work time and to go ahead and start working on the problem and sharing with your partner. And then what we're going to do is in my class, I would have students have me send me the link, or what I'm going to have you guys do is as soon as you are all done, I want you to put your slideshow on this Padlet. It's pretty easy. You can put the whole slideshow on the Padlet, or if you guys want to take screenshots and put that on there, that's easy too, right? All you would have to do is share the slideshow and post it on the Padlet, right? So, and then we'll get a chance to debrief, and that's part of the learning process too, because the whole process, Cyber Sandwich, doesn't take all period, but what takes some time is students sharing their ideas. So that's how we're going to share here. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully you guys made a copy of this. And now I'm going to let you guys be students, and I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. I think this one's going to be, by the time we're done, maybe 10 minutes. I'll come into each room and check on you guys. And then after 10 minutes, we'll look at the Padlet and make sure that everybody's posted on the Padlet. Again, the link to the Padlet is in my slideshow, but let me just go ahead and put the link to the Padlet in the chat as well, right? So that when you're done creating your team slideshow, then you guys post a copy on the Padlet. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and get you guys going on a breakout room. I'm going to get you rooms of 2. So boop, boop. Let me get that up. Oh, okay, breakout rooms. We got 15 people here. Andrea, you want to go in? Okay, I think she's going to need to be in their own room. Okay, I'm going to get this going out because we have an extra person. Let me see here. And I'm not going to put my co-host. So let me create those rooms. Wait a second. I don't want that. No. Recreate. I want 7 breakout rooms here. Actually, 8 breakout rooms. And Andrea, I'm gonna put you, okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna move this one to room 1. Okay, so Andrea, I do have you in a room. I know you're on your phone. So you're showing up in room 1 and 6, but just go to room 6. And then I'm gonna move Jenny to room 7 so that she has a partner. She's gonna go to room 7. Okay. Or move to room 7. There we go. Okay, I'm opening up all the rooms. Okay, so go ahead and get working. And when you get in there, one partner, share the slide deck with the other one. Once you feel like you have something written on your personal slide, then move to the Venn diagram slide and talk with your partner and then try to solve it. Here we go. And if you need me, let me know. All right, you guys, I know some of the groups are already back and I see 2 on the Padlet. I'm going to give everybody like 1 more minute. Actually, I'm going to close the breakout rooms. And here we go. Get everybody back in. Tina and Jenny, I'm probably going to ask you guys to speak so you can share since yours is up there first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jenny, I nominate you.
That's fine, Tina. No problem.
Okay. Okay, we got about 30 seconds before everyone's back.
I'm gonna go to the Padlet and
Mhm. 19 seconds. Oh, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. I think everyone is back and I hope you guys had a great cyber sandwich discussion. We had a few groups post on the Padlet. When you guys are in your class, just kind of like I did, I jumped in the Zoom breakout rooms just to see where people are. When I'm doing this in class, I do walk around my classroom and see where people are at. If they're doing it this method where you share the slides and then they post somewhere, you need to give them somewhere to post so that their work kind of becomes part of the class discussion. One tip is I had Padlet long before it cost money. And so I still have like a bunch of free Padlets. However, do you see how this Padlet is set up in columns? You can get 3 free Padlets. And if you set them up with columns, you can make each column, it could last you the whole year long because you can just be like, okay, December 3rd, cyber sandwich. All right, January 1st, cyber sandwich, January 4th. So you can keep adding columns if you want to use this Padlet method. Another method I use too is I'll make one gigantic cyber sandwich for the whole class on one Google slideshow. And then I'll make a section and I'll call it like group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. And then kids know, okay, I'm in group 4, so I go to this part of the slideshow. So just some tips on how to get the student work in front of the whole class, right? One last idea, some teachers will have maybe on the last slide a Google form and say, put the link to your Google slideshow in the form. And then the teacher can create a spreadsheet from that Google form and then just click on the links. So multiple different ways to get those slideshows in front of the whole class. But Tina and Jenny, they volunteered to kind of walk us through kind of their ideas here. And so let's see what we got here. All right. So this first person. All right. So was this Tina or Jenny?
First one was Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
And I had took a look and said that, there's one there that doesn't belong because it does not equal 25 cents, it equals 50 cents. And another way that it didn't belong was the second way would be that the ones that are pennies don't belong because they're made of copper. They have that coppery color.
Yeah.
But then Tina had a completely different, I'll speak for Tina, I think, unless Tina, you want to jump in.
I can go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
They're done moving the things around. So I looked at it and I saw that the bottom right box does not belong because there's only one coin in it, and it just has a quarter, and the top right doesn't belong because it has more than 5 coins in it. So there are two different ways of looking at it. Or I was trying to more go with, like, for the pennies, it was like designed differently, right? Like they were in an array instead of randomly or in a different pattern or design.
Yeah, cool. So when you guys got down to to talking to each other, you guys didn't have anything in common, right, for that Venn diagram, right?
Not really. I guess we both came up with two different ways that they don't belong, but that was, following the prompt anyway. But yeah, none of ours intersected, but that was okay.
And that's okay. Sometimes they
Yeah.
do and sometimes they don't. It's one thing some students might say is we both had information about coins. You know what I mean? As simple as that. Sometimes our students are like, well, it's all money. We both knew it was money, things like that. And so what's so great about this type of activity is stuff that we as teachers kind of expect is not what comes out of the students' mouths. They might say, well, but that's both, more money than we get in a week because we don't get allowance. They come up with the darndest things. So, you know what I mean? It's okay to have nothing or to say, well, to have things like that are true about each other, but maybe aren't part of the math problem. So then each person got to solve, right? So let's hear about the student one writing a solution.
So I observed each picture. I first decided to count how much value there was in each picture and found that all of them have 25 cents except for one that had 50 cents. And then the second way that I found one that didn't belong is that I observed the color or type of metal that they were made out of, and one of them was different.
Yeah, and then here, and just by the way, I accidentally put the wrong, I have the writing and solution. There we go. Let's hear the other solution.
So this one was mine. I just said I looked at the images and determined which ones looked the most similar between the four. And I noticed the two on the left, the nickels and the dime, were similar in color. They're similar in design and pattern. And then I determined that the other two were different and why they were different. So the one was in an array and the other one just had one coin in it.
Yeah. And now do you see how this feels different, right? First of all, in my class, presentations are not optional. I require all students talk to the class at least 10 times a semester. I have those like from Lakeshore, like those old fashioned, like charts that have like lines and columns on it. I call it presentation points. And every time students present, they just come up, they write their name on a paper. And then I have my TA take and mark it on the poster so they can see their progress throughout the semester where, I have 5 presentation points. So when I'm debriefing a whole class, I don't get all 36 of my students talking. I'll get a handful of them, maybe six or 7 kids. But by that time, students are hearing lots of different ideas, and it really piques their interest, like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. So you can see how much more powerful this could be using Cyber Sandwich, as opposed to just throwing it up for the whole class. If you throw it up for the whole class, what I see happening are the kids that are pretending to think about it, but really are not. They sit around and they wait for the smart kid to lead the class. And this is different. This is validating each kid's ideas and asking them to write about it, and gives them a chance to present. So awesome job. And hopefully you guys kind of got the idea. Now, once you've gone through this once, and when you do this first in your class, you can actually do something simple like which one doesn't belong. Again, I got that from the which one doesn't belong website that I included, or even make it fun. Do something that has to do, with a fun passage, or, a pattern. Like I said here, this visual patterns, what pattern, how do you see it growing? So it gives them students something to think about before you start tackling harder problems. And once you're used to the routine, then students, you just say to them, hey, today we're doing a cyber sandwich. And they've done it a few times. They know what a cyber sandwich is. It's a 2-person kind of pair share, and what do we have in common? Reflect activity. So the actual teaching of the how it's run is no longer necessary. You say cyber sandwich, they know what a cyber sandwich is, right? And I, again, encourage starting with something simple that they can all get into. Now, this is my second cyber sandwich. I'm looking at the clock right now. We have about 20 minutes. I do want you to try this one out now, and I'm going to get you in a different group. So, and that's another key feature in my class is you're always collaborating with different people. I move you around random groupings. They get that flexibility of working with different people. This one, I want to tell you, I really want you to think about if you can use when you go to solve it, or even while you're solving it, using a cube manipulative. This comes from Toy Theater. If you've never used it, you can use it to make shifts. You can knock blocks out. If you want to knock some blocks out, you want to add a block, I can add blocks. I just thought a manipulative kind of might be helpful, or maybe not. It's really up to you. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and get you guys back into some groups and see and go through that same process. So let me get the link to that that cyber sandwich is on your slide. So if you already have my slide deck open, you can go to the slide 16. It says cyber sandwich, tons of trash. I'm going to get the link anyways for you guys. Oops. Which is, hold on, let me get it for you. I think I got it right. Nope. Nope. Where is it? It's here. Here we go. I'm going to put this in the chat. Okay. So I'm going to put it in the chat. You guys, if you're already in their same process, make a copy, share it with your partner, and then go through that same process. And this is a 5th grade math problem. So try it out. I'm going to get you guys in your breakout rooms. Again, I believe we still need, now we need 6 rooms. So let me get you in for 6 rooms. Yeah, 2 in each. Open all the rooms. I'm going to move Andrea. Is she available now to go into a room with someone? I'm going to move Andrea to John's room. John, if Andrea, she was on her phone, so I don't know if she's going to be able to show up, but John, I'm going to put Andrea in your room so you have a partner. If for some reason she doesn't show up, then you can let me know, and I can see if I can get you in a different group. Okay, I'm going to open up all the rooms. Let's go for, I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes and see what you guys come up with. I was saying, my students always, I work until like the last 2 minutes of class, like, but Miss Morales, we only have 2 minutes. I'm like, yeah, we're going to finish this problem in 2 minutes. They're always like amazed at that. I'm like, yeah, it's going to happen. Anyway, so I think everybody's coming back or almost back. First of all, I want to let you guys know that particular problem I got from IM Illustrative Mathematics, and it has K through 5, 6 through 8, Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2 resources. It's at the end of my slideshow. So that's where I actually got that problem from. And then I do so much work as like a tech coach that I decided to put that Toy Theater manipulative in there, which is a great add-on that you can do. And I'm not sure that if anybody actually made it to, oh, hey, look, we got, is this a group 2? That's the which one doesn't belong. No worries, you guys. I know that was a fast one, but I hope you noticed a couple things. One, how much faster it was the second time you went through. You knew what your role was and how the slideshow operated. And that's the beauty of EduProtocols. Once the students get familiar and they've done 2 or 3 of them, when you say cyber sandwich, they know, okay, that's a 2-person, 5-slide, and they know their roles. So they can focus in right away on the math, right? So that's key with EduProtocols. I also want to say a possible solution. This is what I was starting to think when I was first thinking. I'm thinking like multiples of, you know, what are factors of 60, like 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 15 and 4. But then I'm like, wait a second, I remember the little picture on the front where the boxes were stacked up. You could stack them up too. And it started me thinking about, oh, and now I can maybe turn this into volume, length times width times height. So it opened up avenues for students. So when I'm choosing problems for Cyber Sandwich, I try to choose problems that will allow for some conversation. A Cyber Sandwich is not, do this one, algorithm that everybody does the same way. It's got to be a problem where there can be a discussion with multiple solutions. Given that, that solution I just showed is there. I usually don't show students my solution, but I just want to give you an idea of like what could happen there. Because when I prepare lessons myself, I always come up with like an example just in case I want to be able to show it to people later. And so that I go through the process of being a student. So here's some more cyber sandwiches. The which one doesn't belong, I made it a separate slideshow if you want to use that one with your student. The tons of trash and the solution I just showed you. This is a system of equations one, if you teach algebra, and a possible solution, and then a cyber sandwich equation of a circle. Again, I teach high school math, but you saw from the which one doesn't belong that this really is open and people use cyber sandwich all grades of math. If you're looking for some fabulous tasks and problems, UCube, Joe Bowler's website, visual patterns, that's where I got the little, how do you see the pattern growing, the stars, and that one we did earlier. Kendall Hunt, that's illustrative mathematics that we just used with the tons of trash. Open middle, which one doesn't belong, and 101 questions. And in fact, just your textbook, just look for problems there. You can turn it into a cyber sandwich. I also want to say, when you guys are on this slide, there's more cyber sandwich templates. So if you just click the arrow right there, you can see I like to use this one with the actual sandwich on there, but there's little restaurant, different templates you can use so that you can pull from there to create your own 5-slide deck and then fill it in with your math problems. I really want to thank you guys for coming out today. And at bit.ly/techie teacher, I post all my presentations. I do present at a lot of conferences. So if you want to see some other things I do, as well as this presentation as well, it's on that site. I do want to give you guys a link to right now, win a book. Here's what I'm going to do. My friend Lisa Nowakowski donated me a couple books for this conference, and I'm going to give away one today. I'm going to put that link in the chat. It's also on the last slide. Here's what I'm going to do. It's going to be simple. You're going to get on the Google form. It just asks for your name and your phone number. And I'm going to text you. If you're the winner, I'm going to text you. I got a 951 number. I'm going to say, hi, this is Kristen Morales. You won the book. And then you send me your address and I mail it to you. So that's how that's going to work. And I just realized I spelled phone number wrong. Oh, well, glad I'm not an English teacher. Sorry, I screwed that up. Anyways, if you would like to be in the running for a free book, just go ahead and fill out the form. And in about, I don't know, 15 minutes, I'm going to randomly pick someone from the form to send the book to. I really appreciate you guys coming out today. And if you have questions, feel free to connect with me on Twitter at Kristen Morales 1. And I hope you got something good out of this and a new strategy to use in math class. And look, it's 3:11. I finished that on time. Woo! All right.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your expertise. As a quick reminder, the presentation materials will also be on the SCAD app. And if you could also provide some feedback, that would be great.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.